Okay, Mercury Milan shock mounts. Your bolt is up here, and it is quite a long bolt. That is the bolt that goes in there. So you cannot get that bolt in and out. You have to drop your shock mount bucket to get the upper undone. And you're like, oh, well, this is also wide open. No big deal. See that bolt? That bolt? The reason why this is so wide open that I can easily drop them upper shock mount buckets, that sides I've already done, that's the subframe. Mercury, this was a very, very piss poor design that you guys did here. You don't have to really take the whole thing out like I did. If this was up on a hoist, you could just drop it 3-4 inches and do the upper shocks. Well, while we were doing that, I found these spring buckets. One of them is totally rotted out, the other one's not far behind it. The bushings, they're iffy on this. So I just took it out, I blasted it, I cleaned it up. I didn't do the shock mount buckets. Why? We're replacing them. There's the new buckets. And while we were at it, this is actually considered, if you look it up, it falls under the lower control arm, because this is what bolts to the bottom. This bolts up on top and controls. And that. So we did get these also, which is the upper control arms. So we're going to replace those. But yeah, this was a really poor design on. So when people go into a shop, if you have one of these Mercuries, they're like, oh, it's so expensive. Why you charge so much to do my shocks? Well, considering you have to drop the subframe, like I said, even if you don't take it all the way out. And since I took this one all the way out, I cut the exhaust pipe off. I'm going to get a connector. I'll reclamp that and put the exhaust back in. But consider you got to drop the exhaust, drop the subframe, just to get these 3 bolts out and drop this down enough to get that bolt out to change the shock. Very, very poor design. But I wasn't going to do a video going back here, but since we're this far into it, I guess we'll do a video. So I'm going to get these shocks changed quick. Then that way I can go and get the subframe in, and we'll show how to install. The buckets are the main thing, because these buckets, oh, sorry. This is your shims. There's one on this side, one on that side. Same thing over there, one on each side. So when you undo this, you have to mark where this shim is. It still has to go in for an alignment when you're done here. There's too much work done not to. So, but we're gonna mark where the shim is, front and back, and that's how we gotta put it back on, is so the shim is in the same location on both sides. So we'll go and take a blackout pen, we'll mark that, get that dropped. Only one came in, the other one's supposed to be here sometime today, so I do have the one to get this side in here. These here just mount right there, so that's an easy replace. There's no shim on here. Your 2 adjusters, well, the adjuster bolts, oh, where is it? Dun dun dun. Oh, right here. This is where your adjuster goes. That's your adjuster right there. You got one on each side, and that controls your camber caster, because this here can totally move in and out. Same on this side. The only reason that one's hanging is the shock's undone. I have the jack under it so I don't put undue pressure on the brake line. But those are your adjusters, and they go it's hard to show. This is for your control arm. They ride right inside. Oh, right there. Oh, I can't show you from it. It goes, the one end goes through this hole, and there's the bolt holes, and that control does your in and out, and you know, so they can get the whole rear axle aligned. But that bar goes in there, and it hooks here and there on both sides. So yeah, like I said, let me go ahead and get these shocks changed, and then we'll go back to the camera. See, this is why you can't do it without dropping that bucket. There's no holes on either side, and that bolt is that long. So once it fits up in there, fits like that, that bolt cannot come out. So you have to drop the subframe, drop this down to about there, and then you can get the bolt out and all that. We were this far into it. That's why I just finished taking the subframe out. You know, you already got it disconnected and out. Might as well just drop it, sandblast it, and clean it up. So that shock is in on that side entirely. So that side is done. I didn't take the cord off, so that will drop down more, but I figure for putting the subframe in, I'm just gonna leave it as like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, and then we'll get the subframe in. All right, finally, passenger side, driver's side. Now we can get the subframe put back in it, and then we just gotta fix the exhaust. And that's just buy a coupler, put that there, and then we got to go pick up rear calipers. We already have the brakes and rotors. That caliper on that side is seized. Won't go in, won't go out, won't nothing. So we got, you know, if you're going to replace one, you really need to replace both sides. So that's to keep it balanced. You can do front or rear without having to do both, but for a balanced system, you need to go side to side. So, let's get the subframe put in it, and then we'll get that them shock buckets changed. I might do that one there since I have it. The other one I'll just have to do in the car. Like I say, you just gotta mark them alignment shims, take the bolt out, drop it, put the new one in, and we do have new springs for back here. As you can see, we got new shocks, so it's gonna have a brand new rear suspension. All right, well, so much for my paint job. What I had to do is I cut here, flipped it and cut there, and I removed the bucket. Then I had to put vice grips on that sleeve and heat it up really good. And that's the only way I could get the bolt to come out of that bushing. They are just so rotted in there. But we got it out. Now this one is just gonna set in there. Right like that. We'll realign our alignment. It's gonna have going for alignment, but we're still gonna put it in for where it was. Kind of trashed my paint job having to use the liquid wrench, but you know, it is what it is. So got the uppers on. Now we're doing the lowers. That one hasn't come in yet, but I'm still going to get it removed and get it all prepped and set. There is a busted sway bar end link in here. That one right there is broke, because as you can see, the bushing's still on the sway bar side, but the end link is still in the control arm. So well, we'll let the customer know about that. This side's okay, but that's where we're at. Like I said, we're just cutting here, flipping it, because this will flip up. It will, trust me. And then I'm doing the same cut on the other side, and then hammering that off, throwing it over there, and then just holding the bushing. So that's where we're at. All right, here's what I was talking about. I just torched the end of that off. Put that there. Oh, man. All right, that side's all done. We just gotta get this side. Line your springs up. Then once you get that in there, you can turn around, take your pry bar, yeah, sure, now it ain't gonna do it for me, huh? There. Now that one's on that bottom piece. Check to make sure we're on up here. Needs to rotate one spot. There we go. So we'll rotate that. There's that one. That one lines up now. Get that one on the rubber. Now, all you gotta do, famous last words, all you gotta do is kind of get yourself in a position where your jack's where you want it. All right. Oh, oh, you son of a gun. All right, where I'm at is right there. It just won't go on the pad. It wants to fight me tooth and nail. Why not everything else there? There. Now, you can tighten your handle. You can just crank that up into place. Get this damn tarp out of the way. All right. Now, what we're doing, we want it to line up right there. So, now, take our big pry bar.